Has there ever been a ride where you've either been too scared or not had the courage to ride? I have. This will be your thrill intensity guide to riding every ride at Seaworld San Diego. I won't be really going over the restraints or mechanisms of the ride. I'll mainly just be focusing on the intensity, mainly just because it's pretty much impossible for you to fall out of a ride because the ride does many checks to make sure the restraints are working properly. It's mainly just a fear that was brought up by Final Destination. This video will be split up into sections, with the less thrilling rides being in the lower tiers and the more thrilling rides being in the higher tiers. For some reason, Rescue Junior is considered a ride, but there's no feeling because it's literally just the land of the other Rescue rides. Rescue Riders is another very tame ride. It's basically just Dumbo. Sky Tower is actually very tame, even if it looks very intense from the bottom. It's just as a glorified elevator. And lastly, in this section's Octorock. It's more painful and intense because the seats are pretty much plastic. Tidepool Twist is intense enough to not be in the first category, but it's still pretty tame. You also feel the forces on Bayside Skyride, but again, it's not that bad. And lastly in this category is Shipwreck Rapids. The best place actually to sit if you're just scared of the water is actually going backwards. Sea Dragon Drop drops you fast enough to be scarier than the rides before this, but not as scary as the rides after this. Tentacle Twirls is pretty much high and fast, which you'll need for the rides coming up. Lastly in this category, and the last non-roller coaster, is Riptide Rescue. You actually feel the forces on this ride a lot, but it's not as bad as the next rides. Journey to Atlantis is actually pretty intense. The drop is pretty jarring because of G-forces, and the other point of intensity is the elevator because it tilts. The tilting actually catches most people off guard, so make sure you know this before you go on it. Out of the next 4 rides, Arctic Rescue is the most tame, but it's essential for facing your fears. Arctic Rescue's only intensity is its launches, and by extension its speed, so if you've ever done a launch on a roller coaster, it's not bad. Manta is the exact same forces as Arctic Rescue, just slightly more intense, and actually Emperor is the exact same intensities as Arctic Rescue and Manta, just the most intense out of the 3. You actually don't feel the upside down force, because you're upside down so briefly on Emperor. Electric Eel is the, in my opinion, most intense ride in all of SeaWorld San Diego. Not only does it have the force of speed, like in the last 3 rides, not only is its speed the most intense, but it also introduces a completely new force, hang time. However, besides the inversion, it's pretty on par with the other roller coasters. The inversion just gives it that extra boost into its own class. I hope watching this video got you onto a new ride that you've never done before. I still might keep the AI text-to-speech voice just because the simple 3-minute video had almost 90 different takes, and I can see a very complex 30-minute video taking almost years to make. But for shorter videos like this, I'll definitely voice over them. Goodbye.